Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Total War Live. It's been a long time since we've done one of these, and I hope that you are all here and having a good time because today we're going to be talking about Total War Pharaoh. This is our first stream for Total War Pharaoh. I am Blondie, I'm a content producer here at Creative Assembly, and with me today I have Milcho, who's
Hello.
the lead battle designer for
Yeah,
Total War Pharaoh down in Sofia, Bulgaria. How's the weather over there?
that's right. Oh, it has been okay the last couple of days. Before that, very rainy, but not as sunny as it was in the other parts of Europe.
Oh my God, yeah, it's been torture being here in England.
Now
um,
imagine what it must be for people in the ancient Bronze Age who had to fight in conditions
oh,
like desert-like and so on.
I could not imagine. All right, so today we're going to take a look at a custom battle versus where we have Ramesses fighting versus Amenmesse, and we'll also flip that around and play a bit as Amenmesse because I know you guys want to see a little bit of both. But before we start, I do have two things to say. Number one, this is not a finished game. And it's going to be very apparent immediately when we go in that there's going to be some, let's call them placeholders, because that's what they are. Things are not entirely finished, and we could have waited and just gone, well, we'll stream when the game is done. You know when the game is done? When it's released, right? We don't stop working on it until day of, pretty much, right?
Yeah, and sometimes we even include patches and hot fixes even after release, so work really doesn't stop on the game.
Yeah, yeah. And as someone who has to film, things can change from one day to another. And when I say can, they do. Pretty much every day something changes. But yes, so you're going to see some things that are not really finished. They look kind of weird, and that's just the way game development works. I think it's going to be very obvious to you what is not final. Um, yeah, the game is in alpha. What does alpha mean? We're not talking about a marketing alpha here where the game is basically finished. It looks a little bit janky, but it's basically finished. We're in proper game development alpha. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, the game being in alpha state means that basically it is playable from start to finish. It is ready. You can win it. You can experience most of it, and most of the assets and everything is already inside the game. But not every single feature is complete. This is when we kind of go into beta. Beta basically means that all features for the game are complete and we're only doing
Mm.
balancing patches and that sort of things because that of course is something that we do a lot here.
Yes, absolutely. I want to just put so much emphasis on the word most features and and assets are in. Not everything. Okay. The second thing is I'm going to be playing the game today. I'm going to have Milcher coaching me, but I was hired for my production skills, not my gaming skills. So if I suck, now you know.
Yeah, we will blame it on you, don't worry.
Oh, damn it.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I will try my best to help you out with the battles with different strategies and how to play it and so
Yeah.
on.
All right. So here we are. The game. Woo!
Yeah.
This is all live, so if things go weird, I'm sorry, but that's the way live works. That's why you're here watching on Twitch or YouTube live. It's all unfiltered. I'm just improvising as I go. I don't really know what I'm talking about. So, we have Ramesses versus Amunmesse. Our boy Ramesses, our boy Amunmesse.
So those are two quite different factions in the terms of how they play. Now we have made a lot of different mechanics for the Total War Pharaoh game, but we are still mostly keeping to the same old-fashioned historical type of titles where we are going to be focusing a lot more on the infantry versus infantry combat because simply this is the time period that we want to showcase and we want to represent it as best as we can. Now, in the army setup that Blondie has decided to get, we are not going to be including any chariots as of now because we are
Yes.
going to be showing them more later, I am to understand.
Yes, so we're
So,
focusing on
now, yeah.
infantry versus infantry today. In our next stream, which I believe is July 12th, I'm going to have to double check the date. We're going to be showing off chariots there, but today we're keeping it light. We're going to focus on the very core of Total War, which is infantry versus infantry.
Okay, cool. So this is going to be a custom battle. So the custom battles are very tweakable, and there's a lot of options that you can put in there and tweak, like the time of day, the weather. You can decide what kind of weather can happen during the battle. I see that Blondie has currently left it at random, so that we don't really know if anything will change or not change at all.
Yeah.
Um, but these are also going to be how the battles are played in multiplayer battles. Basically, two different factions. Players can select a faction from all the playable ones that we have. They have a number of funds that they can spend on building up an army. Now, if Blondie you select on the units screen there, you can see from the units that have been chosen. Now, Ramesses himself is a very diverse faction. He can have a lot of allies. Basically, he is the guy who is going to try and maybe become the next Pharaoh. He wants to start a new dynasty, but he's also a very capable battle commander. So he mostly relies on units that are a lot more tactical and have interesting skills that allow for better maneuvers around the battlefield and so on. So for this setup, we are going to be focusing a bit on some of the allies that he has. And for Ramesses, he did actually have a lot of allies from the Sherdan tribe in his army. So those are going to be some of the important units that he has. As well as here, I see that we have selected some of the Shasu tribesmen. Now, what's important about them is, for example, the Shasu warriors have interesting new ability, which makes them degrade armor faster. Now, if you mouse over on the right where the unit stats are, while having these selected, and down on the abilities, you will see that they have the armor breaker ability, which means that this unit damages enemy armor faster. Now, what does that mean? In previous Total War games, armor was basically a static stat. Units would have a certain amount of armor, and they would play with it for most of the battle because armor just mitigates damage that they are taking. But here, it's not going to be a static thing because armor also has quality, and certain units might have their armor damaged as the battle progresses, which will make it go less and less as they keep on fighting. Now, the Shasu tribesmen and the Shasu warriors are specializing in breaking down enemy armor faster. So we need to make sure that they are hitting the right targets and trying to find targets that have light armor and so on. Low quality armor to try and destroy it faster, or the ones that have high quality armor to try and lower it down. And they would be wasted if they're hitting any targets that don't actually have a lot of armor.
Absolutely.
Another thing for this army is the core is going to be made out of the Sheridan bodyguards, I believe. Those are the three first units. They also have a number of abilities that we should really try to utilize. Now, Causes Fear is an ability that has been present in previous Total War games as well. It lowers the morale of enemy units that they're fighting, so this can come in very handy. But they also have a number of unit stances that they can utilize, and these are going to be important in when we are fighting the enemies because they can give some interesting advantages. Another thing that is not completely new but can still be very important is their ability to switch weapons, because
Mm.
those units are very versatile and they can go from using a spear and shield to using a two-handed axe, which you will see them wearing on their back. Actually, I think it might be better to just start the battle and see those units into
Yeah.
the game and how they look
Mm.
there, so that we can
Yeah, let's
check them
do
out.
that. I've seen some people in chat. If you wonder why I'm navel gazing every now and then, it's because I have chat on my phone. Um, I've seen some people point out bodyguard equipment. We'll do that after this first battle. So let's just get into a battle. Yeah, more. Yeah, this is not really the way it's supposed to look.
Yes, we are still working on the unit cards and how they're looking. There's a lot of stuff that is still placeholder, but we are going to be having some interesting reviews later on
Mm.
in terms of battles and some UI stuff and so on. But for now, I will probably just tease them. Okay, yeah. So these are the Sharden bodyguards that I was telling you about. You can see them here. They are very looking close to like how some of the Sea People's tribes would look, and you can like try and select them and switch their weapons to see how they can actually change to a different weapon when it is needed. Now, this is an ability that is going to come in very handy once the battle starts, because we are going to be facing Amenmesse, and Amenmesse is very famous for his strong archers. Amenmesse is basically the viceroy of Kush,
Mm.
which is the region in Egypt that is in the south part of Egypt, or the so-called Upper Egypt, because it's on the upper parts of the Nile, which means that he is going to be bringing a lot of archers into the battle. And having this ability to choose between having your units in with shields or without shields is going to be very important as the battle unfolds, because we do want them to have their shields at the start while they're going for the charge, and
Mm.
then switch to the two-handed mode, which can do a lot more damage once they manage to get in range. So for now, I would suggest to get the units you made to switch their weapons and have their shields off to get back their shields out, because this is going to be important. I
You
Yeah,
guys.
just select it again because you now made it for all the units.
Yep. Because I am a dummy. There we go. I think. Yep, that's good.
So those are the units that are probably going to form the core of the army, along with Ramses himself. As I said, Ramses was very famous as a warrior pharaoh who made a lot of battles and was present in the armies themselves, was not just commanding from the side and giving orders. So he's also really going to be play a huge part in this battle.
Mm.
But another unit that is going to be very important for us is the Pharaoh's bodyguards. Those are the Pharaoh guards, I think I want to say. Now, you can customize the Pharaoh bodyguards as well, but that's a different thing. And I see you have the debug camera on.
Yeah, sorry, that's
We have
more of
actually
a.
enabled a new feature in the options that can give the players the ability to select a debug camera if they want to play the game. It will make the camera be able to go a lot further up or a lot further down. It is very useful sometimes for content creators or people who would like to experience the battle from a different perspective, but this is not the default camera that
No.
you're starting with. Of course,
Yes, I should have mentioned that. I'm effectively a content creator, right?
yeah.
So I'm used to playing the game with debug camera and cinematic smoothing all the way up.
Cinematic smoothing is going to be a bit hard to control the units once the battle starts, but I mean, it can still work.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
it's personal preference, right?
Yeah, and it is in the options, and I do believe you can change it at any time. There are a
Mm.
bunch of new options that we have added, so this is just one of them. And it was something that was requested by some players to be easy to see your units from up close, or to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
able to move your camera very high up if you want to really move your army from a far distance. So this is something that is going to be available to all players as they play the battles once they start. But you will need to turn it on from the options
yeah.
first. It will not be on by default. Okay, so just let's talk about Ramses' army. What is the strength of this army, and how we should try to approach this battle.
Right.
Now, the Sherdan, we already said that those are going to form the core of the army. The elite magi are another important unit that is going to be play a huge role in the battle. Now, those guys, if you check their abilities as well, you will see that they have some javelins at their disposal. They're very disciplined, and they have improved flanking attacks, while they also have the unit stances as well.
Mm.
So those units are going to be very good to utilize when doing flanking, and where they're fighting on the side without that much of support. So we should put those units on one unit on each flank, or both units on one flank, and decide from where to approach,
Yeah.
because this is going to be our main focus in the battle. If we can get the Sherdan bodyguards in the middle of their army, where they can utilize their fear and then use the Magi to move in from the sides with that flanking improved ability, they can really do a number on the enemy. Um, Now, supporting them are going to be the Shasu warriors. As I said, those are not going to be our strongest warriors. They are going to be mostly a utility unit that we use to make sure that the tough enemies are engaged and having their armor beaten down with the
Mm.
clubs that the Shasu are mostly utilizing, so that we can have a better attack at them with our main units. We do not have a very strong missile core, but we do have a couple of Sheridan Raiders. Now, those units are throwing javelins, and they can be quite devastating if they are being utilized in the right way. So we need to make sure that those units are firing at the correct targets. Now, as I said, Amenmesse is going to have a very archer-heavy build, so it's going to be quite hard to outshoot him. So what we need to do is get in fast and strong, and to try and overcome the enemy.
All right.
And the last unit, the one that you currently have in yeah, this one exactly, the Pharaoh's Guards. This is one of the special units that you can obtain in the campaign only after you become a Pharaoh, and it is one of the highest tier units and the most expensive units in the game that you will find. And they are really one of the most devastating units in terms of attack when they try to engage the enemy. Their problem here is that they do not have shields, and
Mm.
they're armed with two-handed axes if you zoom in close to them. So we really need to make sure that they are not put into the line of fire, and we really need to utilize them as our main damage weapon. So basically, we try to avoid enemy archer fire, use some of our magi to quickly try and outflank enemies to stop those archers from shooting, and win this battle in that way.
Right.
As I said, Amunmesse is going to be very, very reliant on those archers, and if we can make them stop shooting, it's going to be a win for us.
Mm.
So let's examine the battlefield and see what we can do to win this battle.
So we have a
Now,
cliff here. That's going to be an issue.
yeah,
Um,
we're also going to be fighting a lot in the sand. I see there's yeah, a lot of sand terrain around, and
So you
this
can.
is going to be quite impactful to heavier troops. Fortunately, we do not rely that much on heavier troops as Ramesses. We are kind of used to fighting in sand, so this will not bother us that much. Sand is going to be very impactful on armies that are trying to utilize more heavy troops, but this is not going to be the case.
I just want
Sand
to
is also
point out for the viewers, if you look at my cursor here, there's a little icon, a little yellow icon next to it right now, which is signifying sand. And then there's nothing here, but over here there's mud.
yeah, this appears to be a wet patch in the middle of the battlefield that can also be utilized in this way. So if we are using certain types of units, we really need to be careful of those, because those are going to be affecting us quite a lot. In this case, as I said, we are playing with Ramesses, so the problem is not going to be that much. But if we were playing with some other faction that are not used to playing in the sand, this could be a big trouble. Or we could take units that are actually very good fighting in the sand and can outmaneuver the opponent in that ways. But this is not going to be the case in this battle, so let's just give it a normal start.
All right. How do you think my battle line setup is here? Any changes you made before we start?
I would put Ramesses just behind the Sheridan bodyguard so that he can be close in there. I don't think you have selected any abilities for him. Now in campaign, you can, as you level up, you can attain certain titles that can offer you different battle abilities and so on that you can utilize. For custom battles, you need to purchase those abilities additionally with the funds that you have for your army. So the more abilities you put on your general, the less funds you have for troops. You can select basically a lot of abilities for your general, but then you are going to be lacking more men on the battlefield, and you need to strike a good balance into all that. But other than that, yeah, it looks good.
All right.
Let's try and get to Amenmesse's archers.
Let's see. So he is coming for us as well. I believe I set myself as defender. So he is going to come at me, and hopefully we can rush our light units here, which are going to be relatively faster than our medium units, and definitely faster than his heavy units, especially through the sand. We can also see that both his slingers and his bowmen are utilizing fire arrows. Let's see, let's have you go around. Okay. Let's see if we can
keep trying to outflank him and outmaneuver him to make sure that his archers are not firing anything.
do it like this, and these magi can go through here. See if we can get them on the back line.
Once you start the, well, this could have been a bit closer to the charge. You can make the Sheridan bodyguards change their weapons to two-handed once they're engaged, and shields are not going to be required that much anymore.
Okay, so like this, maybe this one as well. They seem to be focusing their fire there.
Okay, I see you managed to get some of the Magi into his archers, and those are some of his best archers with longest range, so that is good. You can
disengage here.
Now, with the new stances, you no longer need to make your units run. You can just select them the stance if they have it to slowly start backing off. Like I see that your Sheridan bodyguard in the middle are kind of losing. You can select them and give them the stance to slowly back off. This way they are going to not take as much damage and slowly be backing away from the enemy without actually turning, while you continue to try and surround the archers behind it.
You can see that
And
they're
kill them.
slowly
Now
backing
this,
up there.
UI indication shows that they're currently moving in the direction backwards, and you will see them slowly start to move. But yeah, let's do an evaluation of the battlefield right now. I see that you managed to use your Magi to chase off some of his archers in the back, but where is your other Magi unit currently?
Let's see. So my other Magi
Yeah,
is
it is
here.
still not engaged, so we really need to make sure that this unit is flanking.
Yep.
We see Amenmesse himself in the thick of battle there with some of your Shasu warriors. Now, those Shasu warriors are not going to hold too long, but they are at least going to be able to bring down some of the armor of the enemies. Now, if you mouse over the enemy leader, you will see in the not in the unit panel, but on the thing that appears next to your cursor, the current state of the armor. And here you can see that their armor is already at 55%. Now, 100% doesn't mean that the armor is completely gone, because this depends on, again, the type of armor and the quality of armor, but this means that it has already sustained quite a lot of damage. And this is because those Shasu warriors are using those clubs to really beat down on that armor and make the unit weaker as from what it was before. So this is good utilization of those warriors. The ones that are next to that, the ones here that are fighting 2 units, the other Shasu tribesmen here, they are not utilized as well because they are fighting units that are already armed with light armor. And they have managed to bring their armor down, but since they are already using light armor, that is not going to cause that much of an impact. So yeah, those seafaring clubmen, which are not that strong, have had their armor brought down, but as you can see, they don't really have much armor to begin with, so this is not really great utilization of our unit's power. And as you see, we have brought their armor down completely, but our Shasu tribesmen are almost at half health, even though as they keep on fighting.
Right. So I think what I'm going to try and do is let's just have these Magi flank the Royal Hittite Chargers. This is not the army I set up for him. This is very weird.
This is a different army that is up. It looks like Amenmesse here is using some allies from the Hittites and so on. Now we have this new thing in, well, it's not completely new, but we have this thing in Total War Pharaoh where factions can encounter units on the campaign and get them in their army. Those are the so-called native rosters. So imagine if you conquer some of the Hittite lands, you can start recruiting from the Hittite troops and so on, which can bring a very big diversity to the armies you are playing with.
Right. I'm going to take my Magi archers, set them after the spearmen. I'll take these Sheridan Raiders and let's unpause. Try and get them to flank so that they can hopefully start throwing some spears into the back of Amenmesse here.
Yeah, that can be quite useful.
These slingers are running. It's fine. We're gonna.
Yes, but you are being chased there by another unit, so you form a bit of a battle line and try to keep those units away from the javelin throwers.
Right, you. And we'll take these to set off. And now these raiders are out of ammo.
Well, they have done their part, but they are still well armed, and you can't continue utilizing them.
I'm gonna use these Shasu tribesmen to try and. Well, these guys don't really have any armor, but these do.
Yeah, as you can see, the other Shasu tribesmen, the Sheridan bodyguards, are continuing to move backwards there to prevent themselves from taking too much casualties, even though they're fighting 2 units at the same time. Now that you have them flanked, you might want them to stop using this stance and get them into a spear brace formation.
Right, which ones were it? Okay, so let's do that, and just have you attack. And then, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they need to be out of the melee to be able to do this formation. So, and now you told them to withdraw without using the special stance, so they are going to be taking a lot of damage when they are
right.
withdrawing in that way.
Okay, let's see. How are we doing? Kind of rough. Let's take the Pharaoh Guard, sorry, send them off to the Aegean Spirit Chargers. And then, oh, we've run
At
out of
least
ammo.
the Magi managed to break Amenmesse himself. Now, it is good to chase him down. And see, now we did add a lot of new animations. Some of them you can see here when units are running away. Some of them will be limping, staying behind if you zoom in closer. And look at them, even though I think you are going to be catching up on them soon. But they have not completely shattered yet and still have a lot of health, so all of those animations are playing right now. They will if you continue to try and run them down, and that is going to be important as we don't want their leader coming back. And speaking of leaders, Ramesses himself looks to be in a lot of trouble right now.
Oh, damn. I was not paying attention. Fortunately, he is nowhere near anyone else. So I'm just gonna have you run over there, brother. They have broken. Let's see if we can fully break Amenmesse. Right. It's a shame we didn't have the armies I set out from the beginning. That would have made this a little bit more even, I think. I don't really know what was going on with the army here. But hey, it's a game in development. And this is live. I think I'm just gonna run him off the map. Oh, no, we caught him, I think. What? No.
As commanded.
Okay. These are broken, and victory! Woo!
It is nice to have victory on the first battle.
Oh my god, yeah. I was terrified that I would just be immediately losing, because I like to do things like, you know, whoops, maybe not go on the ground, but, you know, look at units that are running away and laugh. Oh, he's limping. There we go.
Yeah, those are already kind of broken. You can see
Oh yeah,
armor,
no, I know, but
and so on.
just want to show up the animation. Right, we won.
But yeah, okay, let's turn the tables around then. Let's play a game with Amenmesse himself. Tweak his army a little bit and see what can be done. So with a simple switch sides at the side.
Right, hang on, let's load, run Amenmesse. Load. There we go.
This is a
And
pre-made setup? Oh yeah, it is a pre-made
yeah,
setup.
so this is the setup I wanted. I wonder if it was when I switched sides.
Yeah, switching sides is of course going to generate a new army, because you might want a different type of army when you are the attacker or when you are the defender.
Alright, so now we are going to be Amenmesse. You know what, I'm going to be defenders again because I like being the defenders. And because
Okay,
we are
so
playing
Ramesses is going to have absolutely the same army that you played before.
Yep.
So you are already aware at what his strong units are and what you need to be careful of. You saw how the Shasu managed to bring down the armor of your troops and so on. So here you will need to figure out a way to counter this.
Right.
Basically, the first thing I see that is different is that Amenmesse's bodyguard and equipment has actually been changed. And he has been set to use a bow and light armor. So in the previous, I think he was using medium armor, at
Mm.
least from what I remember seeing him.
I
Uh,
think, yeah, I think he was using sword and shield, or
a sword
maybe
and shield and
axe.
medium armor. Well, with the axe, he can actually be very fast. So he is
Mm.
armed with light armor. Uh, so yeah, this is going to make things a bit different now for us. We see that with our setup, we have a few units that are armed with light armor. Those are the Kushite runners, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, so those are the units that we need to make sure we utilize to stop the Shasu tribesmen and
Mm.
Shasu warriors and try to stop any outflanks altogether because we are going to be relying on some very, very archer heavy setup here.
Right.
Um, as you can see, you have a total of six archer units. Those are the Taseti longbowmen. This is one of the most powerful archer units in the game. If you
Mm.
select it, you can also see that it has the highest range. It is a tier 5 unit. With excellent morale and everything. Yeah, it can almost have double the range of some other range units. So this is going to be very important for us to utilize right. It also has unit stances. So it has the full back stance. So if it gets engaged, you can make sure that they slowly start retreating while fighting instead of just utilizing the skirmishing behavior. And this is going to be more effective.
Mm.
So I do recommend you try to see that um, and use it. Um, they are also using spears as their secondary weapon, so
Ah.
they can also have a spear brace formation, and this is why this archer unit is that powerful. Now we are also going to have some regular Kushite archers, but basically those archers are going to be our most important units, and they need to do most of the killing. The other units are basically there to support them.
Mm.
We have a bunch of shit spearmen. They don't really have a lot of abilities, but they can form a spear wall as well. Yeah, this is the spear wall formation. It gives them the charge reflect ability, which will negate the charge bonus of the enemies and turn it against them. So if we use this, it's going to be quite powerful. Now keep in mind that this cannot be used once the engagement has started.
Right.
So you need to plan ahead a little bit in order to be able to win with those units.
Mm.
And what are the last units we have? Those are Kushite Royal Guards. Those are again
Right.
pretty sturdy units with a lot of unit stances utilized. They are best placed on the flanks to prevent enemies from trying to outflank us and basically stop units from getting to our archers and Amenmesse himself. Now
Right.
they have quite good armor, even though if it is medium armor.
Mm.
But we need to make sure that they are not facing the Shasu warriors or tribesmen, because this will play a number on their armor, and it's not going to be that great for us.
Indeed. I don't know if we mentioned it, but you can see the tier of a unit just at a glance. So we can see here that these are bronze-colored circles. So the circle means that it's a light unit. Um,
Yes.
Bronze means that it's one or two, and we can see that it's two circles on the circles. If we compare, let's see. So we have. Do we have anyone who is? So we have here on this rhombus. It's been a while since I had a math class.
They usually call them squares or
Square.
diamonds.
Sure. Diamonds. Let's go with diamonds. That's cool. So they have one border, but we compare that to our tier 4 Kushite Royal Guard. They have two borders, which is tier 4. And then if we go up to gold borders, it's tier 5. But if we compare it to the tier 6 Pharaoh Guard, they have two gold borders. So that's how you can see at a glance how good a unit is.
Oh, this is mostly the generalization of the stats that the
Mm,
units is going to have. Higher tier units are going to be available later in the campaign. They're
yeah,
going to cost more funds. You can see it here in the middle of the screen how much different units cost. And they're going to be more powerful in general.
yeah.
But still, they can have their strengths and weaknesses that we need to
Mm,
expose. Now, those Pharaoh guards that you just showed that are the tier 6, if you look through their stats, they are very, very powerful. But as I said before, they are lacking shields, and
yeah,
we do have a lot of archers. So basically, we need to get rid of them before they even get
right.
close to melee range and be able to attack us.
So,
And once they
I did
engage, we don't really want to fight them. We want to just skirmish them.
absolutely. I just want to respond to something I saw in chat. It's gone now. There's a lot of units here. We're just showing off some of them because we're gonna have other live streams and other videos and stuff, and we don't want to show you everything yet. We want to leave some for the future, right? But this is a pretty long scroll bar, as you can tell. Right,
I
let's
was
get
just
into
about
it.
to explain about
Oh, sorry.
the scroll bar and what it was, but since you teased it like that, I guess we are going to leave it for another stream.
Yeah, there are many units, and they go into many different categories. Right. So we are in the same position, but this time we are the defenders. We are still the defenders. Ramesses has the same army that we used before, and I have a different army because I am a dum-dum who messed up.
Now, since we are the defenders, we might choose where to position our army very carefully. So
Ooh.
there is a huge ridge behind us that can be very well defended with archer units. You can see the range of those units. Also, just a tip here: whenever you're placing ranged units, don't
Mm.
place them into each other because they're going to be interrupting themselves from shooting.
Yeah.
Archers are shooting the best when there are no other units intertwining with them. So I see you are already going for some defensive formations here.
Yep. Right. Let's see. These are going to be our primary defensive guys. I'm going to put you up there because I don't know which directions they're going to come from, right?
These are the types of tactics that other players can sometimes deem dishonorable. Camping in the back and
Look,
utilizing the hill. But
chat, at
utilizing
least
the
I'm not corner
terrain
camping.
utilizing the terrain is something that is going to be very important. Now, here you have selected quite a barren map, and I
Hmm.
do believe that this is on purpose, probably, because
It's Egypt, right?
yeah, it is Egypt in a way, though this is very much in the desert here. And
Yeah.
actually, Egypt itself is mostly situated around the Nile, and the landscape around the Nile doesn't really look as barren as it does here. Here we
No.
are obviously fighting somewhere in the desert.
Yeah. I'm going to be
Yeah,
honest. We were supposed. I'm going to be honest with the chat, not with you. We were supposed to discuss a map to play on, and then we forgot, and I chose this one on random.
oh, I thought that you want to talk more about fire and that sort of stuff in different stream because this is another large new feature that we have
That,
been adding and so on, but
you know
cannot
what? Let's
be
go with that.
displayed here.
Yes.
So okay, I guess we are going to be talking more about that in a different stream because there are ways now of dealing with people who try to take the best possible positions on hills and so on, if there is grass and trees and stuff to burn there. But I guess we are going to be talking more about that sort of things in the future.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So today we're focusing on. We're gonna try and utilize some stances here. So we're gonna enable shield wall formation on these guys here, and they're gonna stay put. Then we have our Kushite Royal Guard waiting here, and because I don't know which direction they're gonna come from, it looks like they're gonna focus on being here, so I'm gonna move these down. I had them in the middle just to hedge my bets,
Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
they could have come this
Also,
side.
don't be afraid from their archers or javelin throwers. You can just outshoot them with your own.
Yeah.
Usually, when I play, I remove the auto shoot and auto skirmish modes. Of course, that is up to players' decisions to make. It can make the game easier or harder. Yeah, those units have the ability to do flaming shots. Now, flaming shots are not going to do as much damage and are going to have lower range, but they are going to lower the morale slightly of enemies that they shoot at. Now, this is not the biggest use of flaming shot, though, but on this map, not really much else can be done because we can't really set the sand on fire.
Oh my god, we're gonna turn it into glass. Right. Yeah, so I just want to use flaming arrows here to hit the morale of the units as they come in.
Make sure that you are shooting at the Pharaoh's guard that are coming over there on the left from behind, because we really need to bring the numbers of those dudes down before we can get. Focusing fire on them can be very helpful.
There we go.
And you are already being engaged on different sides, so you can use your light units to quickly outmaneuver behind enemies.
I'm gonna send this guy after the Sheridan Raiders, and then I'm gonna try and use these guys to flank a bit. Also you, and I don't know if this has been in any other Total War, but if you ever feel like, oh, the camera's so slow in this one, hold shift. I don't know if it might be a debug camera thing.
No, it is. It has been in most Total War games. At least
I learned about it like 3 weeks ago.
Well, you are also playing with the cinematic smoothing of the camera.
That's fair. I'm already game.
Nice.
That's why I'm bad.
Just a little bit, so that all of them can be shooting at the same time.
Right.
And as you can see here, the focus fire on the Pharaoh guard, with them having no shields, is really bringing a number onto them.
I'm actually gonna disengage here because they're taking a little bit too much damage.
Unfortunately, those Kushite runners are not as well trained as most of the other units, and they don't have the slow move backwards type of stance that we utilized in the previous battle.
Oh, we've gotten a really nice group here. Let's change.
You can focus fire here as well. You can see that these Tassetti archers, they do have a special ability that can be used.
Want to make sure I don't get someone on my archers here. Kind of messed up, let them coming through. I also definitely forgot to set these on guard mode. Because as I said, they pay me to read, not lead. I don't know. That didn't make sense, but anyway.
It's good that we managed to deal with the Pharaoh guard. Keep shooting on them until they run there. Okay, they are running now.
Perfect. Yeah, I've got them pincered here between my Kushite runners and my Kushite Royal Guard. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, this.
And here you can zoom in on this melee a little bit. We can see here that units are now going to be using a lot of matched combat animations and so on. This is something that is back in this game.
Oh, stab them in the ankles. It's not the greatest. Oh.
Yeah, you have selected yours to be quite on the defensive here, so they are basically just trying to keep their grounds, not attacking as much, but with archers raining arrows and fire from above, this can be quite useful. So
let's see. That's a really bad example because they're kind of in a weird melee. Um, Multiple people fighting each other. So let's see if I can find something. Oops. Better looking on the other side. I swear they're in. I've seen them many times. Oh, look here. What? Zed.
This is quite a large killing field happening here.
Yeah. Oh, they're running away. It is very obvious when you put a unit 1v1. Let's see, where are we?
Yeah, they have all run away now because
Yeah.
you managed to take the hill and the AI was not able to deal with your archers.
Absolutely.
And yes, Amenmesse being one of the best archer factions in the game, you are going to have a lot of problems dealing with them if you leave those archers to shoot as much as they want.
Right. Let's see. Let's pick another sandy map, and I'm gonna start this battle just because we have a couple of more minutes.
Okay.
We've invaded Milcho and so taking his time away from working on the game. I don't want to hold him too long. It's also way later over there in Bulgaria than it is over here in the UK. So what I want to make sure is that while I play a little bit here, chat, give us your questions about what we've talked about today. Milcho is, of course, lead battle designer, so we're going to be talking about battles. We have a couple of things that we want to save for the future, but send in your questions. I don't have such a great choke point here, so this one is going to be a little bit harder to defend. Right. So, we have a question here about how missile fire impacts the morale of units in a battle, and also relating to flaming arrows. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, like most damage, missile fire is going to have penalties to the morale of units. If they are being shot at, they are not going to feel as great, so there are going to be some penalties to their morale that they have. And flaming arrows are going to be increasing that. So they are going to deal even more damage to the morale of enemies when they're being shot at with flaming arrows rather than normal arrows. Now, even though that is not the best use for flaming arrows, it can still be quite nice. Here, in this map in particular, you need to be a bit careful because I see some bushy areas on the map, and those can really catch fire, and the fire might spread. So this can be utilized either offensively, defensively, because you can shoot at the ground and try to set it aflame before even the enemy has come there, so that you can deny them some sort of land. But other than that, morale is going to be impacted like in other Total War games. And of course, casualties taken is also going to have an impact on the morale itself, though it doesn't really matter if the casualties are going to be from archer fire or from regular melee combat.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of factors that play into morale and how it is applied.
Right. So we've talked about weather a little bit in other in videos, but we've never talked about it on stream, because we've talked about nothing on stream other than what we've talked about so far today. So we've started every battle so far in dry weather, and then random changing weather.
Yeah, those are options you can select on the custom battle screen. You can select the weather to be whichever weather type you want. Those certain weathers can only happen in certain types of terrains. Now, you can't expect a sandstorm in like Anatolian region, somewhere up in the mountains or something like that.
Those would be magic
As well as you
sandstorms.
can't really expect a thunderstorm in a desert like this one.
So we are playing on ultra unit size, which has every unit. Well, so these units are 120, We've got 80 and 90 on our archers, 80 on Amenmesse. There is a unit size above this. You can go, I think it's extreme unit size.
Yes, this has been in previous Total War games as well. This is, of course, depends a lot on what your machine can actually handle. So it is kind of a graphic option as well. Unit sizes go from different scales, from small all the way to extreme, and they will change the number of entities that are present in each unit.
Let's see if I can. See if I can draw someone into this grass here. People really wanted to see grass on fire.
On the build that you are playing, I do believe that you can decide you can shoot at the ground by out-clicking on attack somewhere.
I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't think it was in the game yet. Let's see.
It should be.
Let's see.
Though right now I do believe that it is a bit late for you to be doing that.
Yeah. It definitely is. Tall grass can be set on fire, right?
Oh yes, it can. The problem here is that your units are going to be there as well.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely just doing this to mess with myself. I'm not going to win this battle. I'm kind of just using this as a backdrop for talking about things.
So, those are just small bushes there. I'm not sure how much you are going to be able to...
Oh, there they are.
Oh, you actually managed to start one. Okay.
Alright.
I mean, of course, this is utilized a lot more when fighting for settlements or when fighting in more grassy areas, more forested areas. You can use this to make some enemies get out of the forest if they're camping inside, and so on.
And if I mouse over, no more tall grass.
Yes, setting a forest on fire or tall grass on fire will actually remove that terrain from the game. So units that previously would be able to hide there or have penalties there are no longer going to have there. So it is possible to do tactics like burn some of the tall grass so that later your chariots can move through there unimpeded. And this can be something that is important.
Let's see.
And you are not paying a lot of attention to your...
No, so I'm trying to read chat and...
I see the Pharaoh guard just moving rampant through your units. And
oh my god,
you are not focus firing.
I am absolutely not paying attention. I was looking at my own units there for a moment. Let's see what's going on here. See if I can go there. Oh, there they are. Hello. And also you. And well. Okay, let's see. What is the unit at the top left of the unit? Oh, you're talking about this one? So this is the rank icon, which is not yet implemented.
The rank icon is not yet in game. As we said, it is still an alpha build, not all the icons, not all the features. And as I said, we might soonish have some interesting announcements in terms of UI and some other different things. But yeah, this is an alpha build, so it is kind of expected to still have things that are placeholder. The audio is still not completely into the game, so yeah, there are some things that are expected to be like that.
Indeed. I think we're gonna do, because there's a lot of questions about fire, we're gonna do I think a bigger section than I had anticipated on fire next stream. Because I think there's a lot about fire and how it interacts with the map, so let's make sure that we remember and do that the next time. Let's see.
Before that, I can answer any questions that you might have and you might see.
Let's see. I'm going through here. Do we have a snow weather? I don't believe we do, no. Do you know which weathers we have?
Again, it varies from region to region. It can go from sweltering, well, basically dry weather, sweltering weather, rain, mist, well, fog. It is more like cold, thunderstorm, sandstorm. Those are the main ones, I do believe, and they can have impact on um, the terrain itself as well. So if it is raining, certain patches of ground might become into mud. They might start as mud if the weather has started as rain, or they might change to mud dynamically during the battle
Mm.
if the weather appears in the middle of the battle. Same goes with sandstorm, which can blow in sand on different patches that was not sand before that. So yeah,
Indeed.
we are still tweaking a lot of balance stuff as to how much weather is actually impacting your units. We do want it to be something that is quite relevant in the game as well.
Right. We're just gonna look at this melee here while I look for some more questions in chat. Um, do, 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 do. We never really talked about pushing. I don't know if we have any units in this army that can
Uh,
do it.
I do believe that the Kushite Royal Guard can do this. Those are the swordsmen. Yeah.
Right. Oops.
Well, it was. You might have tried to push them into the fire while it was still burning. Now it is pretty far away. You can still try it, but it will be
Hmm.
a long way from here. You don't need to pull them out of the combat to do the pushing stance.
Okay,
Um,
let's.
you can still select it, then select where you want them to push to.
Hmm.
They will reform and start pushing the enemy, though here in this example the enemy is almost dead. So they are probably going to kill them before they actually manage to push. Yeah, they started
Yep.
running
All right.
immediately.
Let's reform over here and try and push. Um, right.
Yep,
Come
they
on,
are
chat.
still reforming in this stance. You
Then-
have still select. You have to click it again. We are still working on some interface improvements for the stances and how you select them. Like right now, you have selected them and told them push all the way to that location over there, and so they're going to try and push any enemies away from their current position and into that position over there. One of the good things about selecting it like that is that you can order them to go into this advancing stance from very far away, but it will also negate your charge. So if you are going in with the advanced stance, they are not really going to charge in and do a strong, powerful charge. They are going to mostly try to push the enemies backwards. And here you can see how your units are already starting to advance forward while fighting the enemies. Those enemies are, of course, kind of already very beaten up, but they will start pushing them. Now, whether they push them or not really depends on the weight difference between the enemies that you're fighting, and
Yeah.
if they are themselves in a special stance. Because if they select a spear brace formation or some other formation that stops them from being moved, they are not really going to buckle and will stay there. Your units are still going to try to push, but they are not really going to be able to do that.
Cool.
You
And
can
as
see
we've
here how
seen,
you're slowly moving them backwards. Of course, this can be utilized in different weathers. Oh, the weather has changed to sweltering. Now, sweltering is going to tire units in heavily armor a lot faster, and stamina is playing a huge impact in the battlefield here.
Mm.
And yeah, you manage to break those enemies. So, unless you tell them to stop, your units are still going to continue advancing in the position that you gave them.
let's just tell them to go over there. Why not? Right.
Yeah, this battle has become quite chaotic as we haven't really been paying much attention to it, and there are all kinds of units everywhere. I see most of your archers have run off somewhere.
Yeah.
There are there,
I'm trying to read chat, find good questions.
and
Emphasis
they're
on good.
out of ammo.
while also playing the battle. It's not the greatest. But we have a good question here. Now that the weather has become sweltering, can it change again? Let's say that this battle went on for another 40
No,
minutes.
the weather is going to change max one time in a battle. So it can start with one weather and then either change to another weather or not change at all.
Mhm.
In custom battles, you can set that. If you can put it as to random, like we have been doing, or you can set it that weather starts as dry and changes to sweltering, or weather starts as rain and goes into a thunderstorm, or starts as rain and goes into a dry, and so on. On the campaign map, it is going to be random based on the region that you are, so you are not going to have control of that. And once it changes, it will remain with the changed weather for the rest of the battle. Now, when exactly the change happens is not something that is set, and it is a little bit random. So it can change pretty fast at the start of the battle, or it can change like how it did right now, 12 minutes after the battle has started.
Mm.
So yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I think that's all we're going to have time for today. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Milcho, for coming around. This was fantastic. I had a
Thank
lot of
you as
fun.
well. Looking forward
Hopefully,
to the next one where we can talk more about other stuff in the game
mm,
and use some more varied maps as well, where we can
yes.
utilize the terrain even more. Even though in the second battle you kind of showed how powerful the terrain can be when you are up on the cliffs with a very archer heavy build.
Absolutely. I did so much better than I thought I would. um, I don't remember what I set the battle to either. I think these might be normal battles, which if you're, a total war player, you're going to be roasting me because these are normal battles. But
Normal battles, you mean like on normal difficulty? You
yeah,
mean, or like land battles that are
no, no, no.
not siege battles, ambush
No, no,
battles?
no, no, normal difficulty because real men play on legendary or very hard, I suppose, in custom battle.
Oh yes, but on legendary you can't slow down time or pause, so it's hard to
Yeah,
look at the units and explain
it's
stuff and so on.
um, right. Let's see. Where was the email where we decided on when the streams were supposed to be? Sorry, I just want to check. I believe it is July 12th. It is. So I will be back July 12th. I've not actually asked Milcher whether or not he will be back. Um, but we'll figure out who will be here with me because there will be someone else. I'm not going to do this alone because you would hate that. The chatters. I don't know if Milcher would hate it, but I imagine he feels like you do. So anyway, uh, oh, thank you, Banana Bean. I'm gonna look through the chat replay, see if there were any interesting questions that we missed, and make sure that we address them in the next stream, which again,
Sure, Jim.
July 12th. And then we are going to take a look at Tausret and Seti, I think.
Okay. Some different army compositions then, because
Yes.
we have tried to make
Mm,
different factions feel different, even
yeah.
though when using some of the native rosters, they can kind of vary quite a lot in
Mhm.
this game.
Indeed. For a moment, I thought I had messed up and said something that I shouldn't have. Then I remember, no, we've already said what the factions were. We just not
Yes, we have announced the
we've
factions.
just not showed them yet. But we will
Yes.
live on stream, July 12th. Be here or be a rhyme. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay. Bye
Thank
bye.
you for
And thanks
watching.
for having